Hey everyone, this is Jen, and you are watching BPD Woman. On this channel, you will learn how to more effectively deal and manage your BPD traits, learn how to wrangle in your emotions, and learn how to effectively communicate with others to give you the goals and relationships that you may desire. I'm not a therapist, I am not a doctor. However, I am someone who has been diagnosed and lived with the disorder for over going on 20 years now. I have done all sorts of work, DBT, many rounds. I have done book work, homework, read the books, read the stats, read the studies. Anyways, you get it. I'm committed. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and let's get going. So today I want to talk to you about standards. Are your standards too high? You know, with BPD and other personality disorders, black and white thinking is really something at the core of the disorder. And just remember, this disorder is not a lifelong curse. I mean, all a personality disorder is a pattern of maladaptive behaviors that have been learned and ingrained in you over time. You know what that means? That means that you can learn other behaviors that become ingrained in you over time as well. It took you 18 to 20 years to learn these behaviors. I mean, most times BPD starts showing up in your late teens, your early 20s, young adulthood. So it can take you maybe to middle age which is kind of where I'm at now. It can take you to middle age to kind of really get more effective behaviors under your belt. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying that I get it all the time, but I tell you what, my life's a lot easier now. Do I have setbacks? Do I sometimes default into behaviors that aren't helpful? Sure, absolutely. But I'm human, right? Again, no black and white. So you're not going to hit all of these things with 100% effectiveness all of the time. It's just not possible. You're a human being. So, but one thing, that goes hand in hand with black and white thinking are standards and, things that you might be looking for, in particular when somebody's letting you down. Maybe that's a new friend. Maybe that's a job. Maybe that is some kind of relationship or social expectation, maybe it's a car, whatever, right? And it's like this, oh my gosh, this is, let's focus in like a friendship, right? So, because this happens to me often. I meet somebody new, I'm really excited, we're really hitting it off. Oh my gosh, you like this and I like this and you hate this and I hate this. Oh my gosh, we're so compatible, we have so much fun, we laugh our asses off. And then, it used to be that when I would start to see some of their humanness or defects come out, I would just write them off like, nope, oh God, that doesn't work for me, I'm out the door, right? And, a part of that too, again, which you can find in another video of mine about BPD friendships, and that's one of the older videos. That's probably a video from 2-3 years ago now, so you can sort the playlist by oldest videos. But anyway, in that video about BPD friendships, I said that we often don't screen people well enough when we invite them into our life, right? We're so excited. We got that emotion going, right? So our emotion's high and our logic is low and we're not thinking clearly. And so we tend to let in a lot of people into our life that maybe just don't deserve the past to be there. And so that is what relationships are about, though, right? Like that's why, it's suggested that you date people for quite a while before you think about getting married, if that's something that you want to do, right? Because people do not show themselves. It's just impossible. People will not show themselves, their true selves, or everything about themselves, or everything that there is to know for months and years, mostly years on end. And even then, after you've been in really long-term relationships, you're always going to be learning something new about someone. And so when you approach these relationships, let's stick to relationships, you may have a really high standard, right? Like you may have criteria that maybe is too stringent, right? So maybe a black and white criteria might be no friend of mine can ever cancel on me, right? And if they cancel on me, we're not friends anymore. Or a very black and white ineffective criteria that you might have, maybe something like if my friend forgets an important date of mine, like my birthday, we're not friends anymore, right? If my friend is friends with somebody that I don't like, we're not friends anymore. And then, you may end the friendship, and then one day you look around and you're like, wow, I don't have a lot of friends. Now, I will say that it's great, and you should 100% have standards. Just have to know how to apply those standards. For instance, I have a new friend. We've sort of been kind of acquaintances for a while. She lives in my building. We've become friends. We've hung out a few times, and I like her for sure. And you have to remember, again, without being black and white, there are different levels of friendship, right? There's acquaintances, you have associates, you have neighbors, you have coworkers, you have friends, you have best friends, right? You have spouses and partners, all different levels, right? All different levels of intimacy and relationship status. And I like what's going on with this friend. And today she did something a little shady to me. We were maybe supposed to get together yesterday, and then I sent her out an invite like, oh, would you like to walk the dogs later? And then she couldn't do that, so I was like, fine. But she had wanted to get together at some point over the weekend. And then today, with my schedule, I said, hey, by the way, I'm going to come home soon. I'm around for the next 2 hours. Maybe you'd like to come upstairs and have some coffee and catch up, right? And she has her read receipts on her phone, so I know that as soon as I sent the text, she read it. And I had said something like, oh, well, I have to leave around 12 p.m. for work. And she decided not to reply to my text until about 12:05. So it was a very, obviously, a deliberate, and what she replied with was, what's your schedule like tomorrow? And it's fine that you can't get together with someone potentially, but you also don't gaslight them or try to be passive aggressive or manipulative, right? She clearly read the text at 10:30 when I sent it. She should have, it would have been my preference for her to have said, I would really like to get together at some point. I just can't today. What's your schedule like tomorrow? Instead, what she did is she waited till she knew that I would no longer be able to meet and texted me and said, what's your schedule like tomorrow? Without acknowledging that she had just blown me off. I find that to be rude. So it's not a deal breaker for me at the moment, but it's something I'm kind of like on notice about, right? And so like maybe the younger me, the more black and white me would have been like, don't like that, block. Don't like that shit, block. Now listen, isolated incidences are just that. They're isolated incidences. But patterns of behavior are something very different. So if this friend or potential friend only does this once every 10 times, that's fine. But if she does this once out of every 3 times, then I got to take a closer look at that. And so again, with that screening process with friends and your standards, everybody kind of enters in at that entry level position, right? Like think of it like as a job promotion. You're an intern, right? And then maybe you're entry level, and then you are an associate, and then maybe you are a vice president, and then a president, and you just up the line. And so you can kind of apply that hierarchy to your relationships, right? Everybody kind of comes in at one kind of lower level, and then you see where it goes. And if you like where that's going and that works for you, you promote them, right? And what does that mean? You give them more access to your life, you give them more time, you prioritize them, right? Now, the old me, one of the kiddies is joining me here, the old me would have said, maybe this would have been like 5 years ago, I probably would have replied to her text like, guess not, like when I didn't hear from her, because that's a trigger for me when people don't reply to my texts, which she clearly did, right? She clearly didn't reply because she knew she didn't want to get together or couldn't. And instead of just being a grown up and putting on her big girl pants and being like, hey, thanks for that invite, I really appreciate it, I can't tomorrow, right? Can you tomorrow? That would have been the mature thing to do as a sign of respect for somebody. And like I said, remember, just because you have BPD, it doesn't mean that other people who don't have the disorder are going to be so much better at this communication stuff, right? Because she's clearly not. I don't think she has a personality disorder, but she's also being a little passive aggressive, which is fine, I guess. But again, I have to consider that. Like, am I going to promote her to the next level? So just be sure that one, your standards are realistic, and two, that they're realistic for the situation, right? So she may be able to get away with that behavior at the entry level position, but I wouldn't let her get away with that, stuff at like the senior vice president level or like the best friend level, right? And so, it really used to bother me that I didn't have a lot of friends, and then I would think I had a lot of friends, and then they would disappoint me inevitably because I didn't screen them properly, and then next thing I know, I'm friendless, and then it would be like this marker of my disorder, like, well, I'm not getting any better. I don't have any friends. Still a loser. Don't have any friends. Why don't I have these friends? And, now it's kind of like I'm at a place where I'm like, I really don't care if I don't have that many friends. I don't need a lot. I'm perfectly comfortable in my own skin, and I respect myself enough now that I don't let behavior like that go unchecked. It doesn't mean I'm going to have a confrontation with her. It just means I'm going to put it in the back of my mind, right? Okay, she did this. Now, if it happens again, or maybe in conversation next time, and I'll be like, hey, I'm really just a person that's really best with like direct communication. So I would just rather know right away. It's not going to hurt my feelings, right? That, and you're honoring yourself. You're being an effective communicator. It's going to make you feel good inside, and also, I tell you what, it's probably going to make the other person feel pretty good too. Like, oh wow, I'm really glad that Jen cleared the air and she said this, and okay, this is great. Maybe in their eyes, you get promoted to the next level, right? So, but now, like I said, I don't chase that friendship train, right? Because chasing is also like chasing after somebody like, hey, why haven't you answered my text? Hey, are you not going to get together? Wow, this is rude, right? It starts you on an emotional roller coaster where you don't want to be, and it dysregulates you. It makes you look out of control because you are out of control, and then that has repercussions. So again, don't make your standards inappropriate to the level of friendship or situational expectation, and then also handle it calmly, right? I'm gonna let her reply to me sit, right, for a few hours. Also, not only because I'm kind of letting my emotion come down a little bit from that, but also I'm busy, right? And I want to focus on the other things. We've got some big storms coming in today. I need to focus on what I need to do. I have some work. I got to drive here in a few. So that's my priority right now. I'm prioritizing. This is what I have to do, and I will get back to that later. So I hope this has been helpful. Why don't please leave me your thoughts below. How do you handle it? Expectations. What are some things that you've done to empower yourself in communication? Do you think your standards are too high? Do you think maybe your standards are too low? Let me know. Till I talk to you next time. And everything you do, please be effective.